My 29F ex-husband, 29M, left me after he became successful. Now he wants to get back together. My ex and I got married at 20 and our divorce was finalized at 26. A year after we got married, my ex came into some money. He ended up investing half and starting a business with the rest. I thought the business was a bad idea because we were still both in school at the time and we argued over it often. However, by the time we graduated, his business was starting to do well. As my husband's success increased, he started changing as a person. He made new friends and was constantly partying or socializing with them when he wasn't working. He would get upset if I wasn't willing to drop everything to go with him at a moment's notice and eventually, he stopped asking me to come. He didn't care that I was trying to build my own career at the time, and he thought I was being selfish for not being happy for his success. It got to a point where we would barely see each other, despite living in the same house. We ended up having a massive fight one night when I asked him to go out less. He got angry and went on a rant about how I was dragging him down, how I was ungrateful, how most women would be ecstatic to be in the position I was in, and how he would find someone who could be supportive of his success. 2 days after he served me with divorce papers, my best friend showed me a video his friend had posted of him partying it up with several other women the night before. Our divorce wasn't as messy as it could have been, mostly because I was so hurt by that point that I just wanted it to be over, and I probably got way less than I would have had I tried to fight for more. I hadn't seen him since our divorce was finalized, until the end of last year when his mom got sick. His mom and my mom were best friends, but they stopped talking when we divorced. When she got sick, he reached out to my mom asking her to come see my ex-Mill because she was asking for her. My mom was very reluctant to go because she felt like she was betraying me. So I ended up driving her over myself. He was there when we visited, but neither of us spoke to one another. I ended up taking my mom to see my ex-Mill several times while she was sick, and he was always there. Eventually, on the third or fourth visit, he asked me to talk. He apologized for how things ended between us and acknowledged his mistakes in our marriage. He was really upset that he'd destroyed our mom's friendships and said his mom was so happy now that she could see mine again. We ended agreeing to try and rebuild our friendship for their sake. Things between us have been a lot better. We've managed to keep things platonic until now, but yesterday he was acting weird. He started reminiscing about when we were married and sent me a long list of things he wished he'd done differently. He ended up asking me to go on a date with him. I didn't reply because I didn't know what to say. He texted me again this morning to tell me he was sorry for making things weird and to forget he ever said anything. The problem is that that's not something I can just forget. I really don't know what to do now. TLDR, my husband changed after his business became successful and we ended up divorcing after we had a big fight over it. We reconnected last year, and he recently asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him. I don't know if I should. You don't sound passionately excited to rekindle this, and honestly, considering the fact that he's going through a major possible loss with his mother's illness, he may have many reasons to want this without actually wanting it. You know, to appease her, to make things as they were, to feel like he's fixing many mistakes by fixing one large one. Do you actually want to? I couldn't tell one way or the other what you wanted. If the answer is no, then say no. If you still have feelings and want to, make some ground rules for yourself. Give it a shot, but know when to bail. Ask yourself what the worst and best case scenarios are. Risk versus reward. Set the highest expectations possible and verify if you can meet them. At that point, it would be fair enough. Otherwise, meh. Heated soup is usually not that good. You never talk for a second about what you want, only what he wants. Are you interested in reconnecting romantically? If not, move on. If yes, go into it with your heart guarded and don't give him any slack. If it weren't for the past, would you want to go out with him? There is counseling the two of you could do if the only thing holding you back is your concern over him changing back. If you're just over it and have mentally moved on, then politely decline. You don't owe him another chance. But if it's something you're also interested in, maybe give it a shot. I would be incredibly wary if I were you. Are you excited about the prospect of getting back together? Would you look forward to a date? Fuck that. He left you to find a better life and realized you're as good as he's gonna get? What a romantic story. I roll. Fuck that dude. Ouch. It sounds like he wanted a new life women when he became successful. And now that he doesn't have it, now he wants you to come back to him. So it could be that he finally realizes how great you are. You're his sloppy seconds. I don't know. Or he needs to keep you around to make his mom happy. Which is also concerning. I would suggest that you put him on standby and tell him you're not interested. And separately you go see a therapist alone to figure out what you want. So you guys married very young and maybe he was a bit immature during the time you were married. But age and experience really do change people. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But I don't find it odd for him to reach out. He did some growing up and maybe truly realized he was being a jerk. In the end, it doesn't matter what he thinks. What matters is how you feel. You could see if he's willing to unpack what happened and take it from there. If you still want him in your life, you can start from there and evaluate your feelings every step of the way. I do believe that he could have changed. But could you? And maybe at this point you're a better match or no longer a fit. But you won't know unless you evaluate your feelings and see where they lead you. One thing you've not mentioned in your whole post is how you feel about him or what you want. So, what if he is sorry? Do you still love him anyway? You've been fine without him for 3 years. Will having him back in your life bring a positive impact? Only you can answer those questions. But at 29, or any age actually, why waste time with someone if you're only lukewarm on them instead of using that time to find someone, or something, else to make you happy? The question is, what do you want? Keep it amicable for the mothers or see what happens. He's put the ball in your court. Do you want to play? Good luck in whatever you owe, you decide. So he thought he was hot shit. That all the women would swoon over him, and because you wouldn't put up with his shit, he divorced you just like that. And now realized he can't do better than you. What's the benefit for you here? If he asked you to forget he asked you on a date, I wouldn't think of it as him wanting to get back together. Maybe he reminisced about the good times and in the spur of the moment asked you out. Then remembered the whole picture? Or maybe no response from you got him scared. Either way, I think if he was sure on wanting to reconcile, he wouldn't back out. I'd simply say okay and go on with a platonic friendship. And if one or both of you seriously feel like getting back together is what you want, then let it come naturally without a text the next day asking to forget about it. Don't do it. If he's really remorseful and wants you back, he'll do more than what he's done, which is feel some guilt over his mother, not over you. Have a sentimental moment, and send you a text he then took back. There's nothing here to indicate he's really changed, genuinely regrets treating you like shit, or actually wants you back. So far, it appears that he's just doing what he's done before, which is emotionally jerk you around in the service of his own feelings and impulses. You don't have to cut him off or be angry. I think your non-reaction was the right one. Notice that he didn't need any input from you to make decisions. He texted a question, he texted a conclusion, and you didn't even have to participate. He's probably just feeling low, and seeing you again is making him nostalgic for the good old days when you were there to support him. Don't mistake his impulse for resolution. Do you still love him in that way? Set aside everything except how you feel for a moment. If you are done with that path and that chapter, then politely tell him though you care about him. And you always will. You don't feel that way anymore. He broke your heart and your love and your trust, and it's not something you can ever go back to. However, if you still love him, if he was the one that got away and you want to try again, then tell him he has a chance. But he would be on thin ice. Set the terms you are comfortable with. Express to him what you would expect emotionally if he wanted to peruse a relationship. Ultimately, the ball is in your court. Do what is right for you. You don't owe him anything, only yourself at this point. I mean, look, 26 years old is pretty young. His decision-making wasn't the best at the time, and it's reasonable to expect he has grown as a person since then. That being said, do you think you can actually ever to get over what he did to you? If you think you can and want to try again, go for it. But I don't think anyone would blame you for not getting over it. He did a terrible thing to you, and while it can be summed up as a stupid youthful decision, that doesn't make it less painful. It still happened. A lot of people are saying to forget him, but honestly, you're the one who knows him best. Do you still love him? Do you think he's changed? Can you trust him? Will he be there for you? Are you ready for the ups and downs? People are so fucking jaded here. It is entirely possible for people to change. People grow.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.